Історична перемога.
Наймолодший чемпіон Європи в історії змагань.
Він працьовитий і скромний. 13-річний Oleksiy Sereda
став наймолодшим в історії
Чемпіоном Європи зі стрибків у воду.
С 10-метровой вышки. И принес Украине 7-ю медаль.
Дело, Леша! Все. С перехода, да, на девятку не сделал, но это победа. Но все равно победа. Oleksiy Sereda, и сегодня праздник.
И у меня, и у всех тренеров были слезы на глазах от того, что это получилось таким маленьким спортсменом, 13-летним.
Молодец, Тамара, Токмачова, главный тренер сборной команды Украины. Поздравляю его личного тренера Тетяну Погребную. Вот она справа в желтой майке. Фантастика, фантастика. Ну и президент танцует.
A 13-year-old Ukrainian athlete created a furor among fans at the World Aquatics Championships. The record holder gave the best performance of the Ukrainian team. The media heaped praise on the young athlete, Oleksiy Sereda, who has already become a historic figure in Ukrainian sports.
Oleksiy Sereda, Ukraina! Звання чемпіона Європи, Oleksiy Sereda.
At the World Aquatics Championship in the Korean city of Gwangju, Oleksii took 4th place and won a license to participate in the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. At the championship, the 13-year-old Ukrainian athlete gave an outstanding performance, competing with experienced adult divers.
Выступление на чемпионате мира, как бы в планах было там.
At the World Championship, we planned that he would aim for the top 18. When he achieved this position, we already realized that he could reach the top 12, and he took 4th place. We realized that at the European Championship, which will be held in Kyiv, we can expect that he could even win a medal. I was not nervous when I competed at the World Championship. To be honest, I'm afraid of diving with athletes who are the same age as me. It seems to me that if I lose to older athletes, it's okay. They are older than I am, and my whole life is ahead of me. At the World Championships in synchronized diving from a 10-meter tower, Oleksii, together with his senior colleague, 17-year-old Oleksiy Sereda, took 4th place. The Ukrainian divers were the youngest participants in the finals. It is difficult for me to work in pairs. In the individual competition, I worry only about myself. If I somehow make a bad dive, then I am totally responsible for my mistake. Diving in the individual competition is easier for me. Oleksii soon demonstrated his determination and irresistible desire to win at the European Championship, which was held in Kyiv, in the swimming pool where the young champion trains and spends most of his athletic life.
5 лет назад Леша приехал сюда в Киев.
5 years ago, Oleksii came to Kyiv. He was 8 years old at the time, and he was so hyperactive. Everything was interesting to him, and he wanted to see and hear, and to try out diving. He was such a hyperactive boy, with a strong desire to engage in this sport.
Такой гиперактивный мальчик.
The story of the future champion diver began in Mykolaiv, where he lives with his family. Oleksii's parents decided to send him and his sister Maria to the pool at an early age so the children could learn to swim.
Мы ходили в баню, а там был свободный выход в бассейн.
Once we went to the sauna and there was a swimming pool where children were learning to swim. We taught them how to swim there at the age of 4 or 5 and then signed them up for lessons to learn proper swimming technique.
Чтобы они научились, чтобы технику, просто поставить технику плавания. И мне сказали...
They told me that swimming was not for me, and that it would be better for me to go into diving with coach Tetiana Pohrebna. He once saw a video on the internet and decided to try this sport. He was not even 6 years old when we took him for diving. At first, the coach didn't want to teach him how to swim, and the groups had already been formed.
Не хочет учить плавать, и что группы уже набраны.
Ну давай, если сделаешь спад вперед.
Okay, if you make a dive, I will take you. He repeated what was shown, and he dived without splashing. Then I became interested and said, okay, come for practice tomorrow. Oleksii convinced her not only by his ability to enter the water, but also with his courage and great industriousness. He followed the instructions of the coach and was not afraid to dive from the high platform. Children start training step by step, from 3 meters, then 5, then 7 meters. That day I checked the courage of the children and decided to finish their training at the height of 5 meters. Oleksii was the first one who suggested diving from a height of 7 meters and then 10 meters. He constantly showed his desire to go forward and improve his skills, and it was very hard to stop him, as he always wanted to do something new. I liked it, and that's all. Sometimes I was afraid, but I wanted to keep going and forget about my fears. There were times when I was afraid to dive, but with the help of my coach, I overcame this fear. It is all about talent, and of course it is hard work, because no matter how talented a person is, if they are lazy and do not work hard in practice, then of course the result will not be positive. So what is the essence of success? In his case, it is 99% hard work and training, and 1% talent. A few years ago, Maria and Oleksii moved to Kyiv together with their coach, Tetiana Pohrebna. The children then started a completely different life, and the schedule of their mother also changed. She now lives in 2 cities at once and is completely wrapped up in the sports world of her children. Of course, I was already drawn into all this, and my life has become more adjusted to their schedule. Sometimes our father is angry and very often says, "That's it, come home now, I can't be without you." But when Oleksii told him that he won't come home, all that ended. When we have training camp, the schedule is very tight. We hold 2 training sessions a day. One workout is from 9 to 12, and between workouts we try to go to school and attend classes. When September begins, we try to arrange it so that Oleksii does not have to go for training in the first half of the day and goes to school. Oleksii doesn't regret that he has no childhood, so to speak. Moreover, neither he nor his older sister can imagine living another life.
Это болезнь уже было такое, что мы ехали на соревнования, когда-то был отбор на чемпионат Украины, еще маленькие они были, по-моему.
There was one time when we went to a competition and there was a selection for the championship of Ukraine. They were still very young, in Group E. They had a temperature of 39 degrees, so I gave them some medication and we arrived at the swimming pool, where they were selected for the championship, and then we went home. I have already gotten used to it. I wanted to do something before, but now I just want to relax. To tell the truth, for him nothing exists except diving. School can wait. There was even such a pleasant moment. We went to the Chernihiv Oblast to visit our relatives, and I and my husband and one of our friends said, "Lyosha, when I come to Kyiv, I'll take you to eat rolls in our cafe," and he immediately replied, "I will think about your offer if I am free, but if I have a training session, then I will not be able to go anywhere, because for me, training is sacred." Future champions have a very difficult multi-stage preparation period before diving into the swimming pool. The fact is that they undergo dry training, which involves the whole coaching staff of the Luhansk school. This involves choreographers, acrobats, and a trampoline. Thanks to all the knowledge of head coach Tamara Tokmachova. Well, I think that this child has a certain talent. He began to progress so quickly, and everything went ahead, and he was trying very hard in order to perform difficult new dives. What was planned basically turned out for the better. Oleksii is the 5th European champion trained by these coaches. Therefore, a good set of circumstances and with a successful execution of the dives which he showed at the World Championship, he could become European champion. The only thing that the coaching staff and I doubted was whether he could manage to handle the stressful situation from a psychological point of view. Preparations for the European Championship were tense. Oleksii swam in his native pool, and this imposed an even greater burden of responsibility on him. He says that in Korea it was much easier.
Там, говорит, меня никто не знает. Не было знакомых на трибунах.
He told me that nobody knew him and there were no acquaintances in the stands. Only the team was sitting on the benches and that was it. It was much easier. And here is where the sense of responsibility comes into play. He knew what was expected of him. It was tough for him before the dive. Many people in the stands supported him, but it is much easier for him after the dive than before it. Well, I realized that I had become a champion, though I did not understand my achievement. My ultimate goal is to become an Olympic champion. I need to perform new dives, and of course I need to train hard to achieve my goal. All dives are interesting in their own way.
Все прыжки по-своему интересны.
Ci sono. Da manuale questa verticale, è stato perfetto, elegante, pulito, gambe tese, punte tirate.
И у меня, и у всех тренеров
All the team coaches and I shed tears over the fact that Oleksiy managed this.
маленьким спортсменом 13-летним. Когда я
The first emotions were tears of joy when I hugged him and told him he became European champion. He was surprised by the fact that we were crying. He said, "You should be smiling and happy."
Во-первых, он побил рекорд знаменитого прыгуна.
First of all, he broke the record of the famous diver Tom Daley. And of course, our team manager got a call from the BBC and was asked for an interview about this phenom. They asked him how it was possible that our athlete, our young Ukrainian boy, managed to break Tom Daley's record.
Маленький мальчик побил рекорд Тома Дейли.
At the time of the European Championship, Oleksiy Sereda was 13 years and 7 months old. Briton Tom Daley won the European Championships in 2008 at 13 years and 10 months. Serious training preceded Oleksiy's golden dive. Preparations for the championship took place in real time. This was necessary in order to prepare the sportsman not only technically and physically, but also mentally.
То есть садятся тренеры, главный тренер, старший тренер.
Before the championship, coaches sit down and imitate the competitive moment. This is when he should dive according to his program, with preliminary competitions, semifinals, and finals. And of course, concentration only on one dive. He can no longer go warm up or make a second attempt. He must dive 6 times at the blow of a whistle.
Он должен прыгнуть 6 прыжков под свисток.
We trained in 2 workouts a day, and I dove according to the program. There was choreographic trampoline training. So basically, we had everything we needed. By the way, during dry training, Oleksiy is restrained and stern, but in the water he is very relaxed, which shows that this young talent is in his natural environment. It happens that he gets tired. Well, of course, he works hard for a 13-year-old. It's difficult. The preparations started for the World Championships and the European Championships in the adult teams. For him, it was also difficult. Oleksiy is very self-critical, and during training and competitions he is devoted to working hard, trying to perform the best possible dives, and perfecting them. Surprisingly, even with a gold medal in his hands, he can sometimes be dissatisfied with his result.
В Казани на чемпионате Европы юношеском я был первый, но я плохо.
In Kazan, at the European Youth Championship, I was first, but I did not dive so well. If I win first place, it does not mean that I made the perfect dive. Of course, it happens that I dive well and take first place. In Kazan, I got 13 points in total, though. I flunked 2 dives at this competition.
Я там завалил 2 прыжка. Не кажи го, пока не перескочиш, вот это о нем.
He's a don't count your chickens before they're hatched type of person. He used to say to me that there are lots of rivals, and they are very serious when it comes to achieving their goals. He doesn't like to make any plans for future competitions. Even though he made it to the finals and took first place at the European Championship, I asked him, "Losha, what is your ultimate goal?" He answered, "Mama, you know, Chernovoy and Schleicher." He admired them and looked them up on the internet. As a child, I always watched how Chernovoy dove, and one time I managed to beat him. We agreed with him that if he won a license to compete at the Olympics, then I promised that I would lose 20 kilograms. In fact, he took 2 of them, but we did not agree on 40 kilos. Today, all of Oleksiy's training is dedicated to achieving his main dream, the Olympic Games. To do this, he practices hard every day. He dives 80 and even 100 times during each training session and learns new dives. Well, as he said, his task is to get to the finals, and I am confident that it will happen. He really understands that he needs to be taught and he has to train a lot. Due to the fact that he is still young, he needs to practice new dives in order to make his program much more difficult. I think you just need to train and just go towards your goal, and that's all. Bold and talented, restless, independent, and happy. They are truly our future, and they are the future of Ukraine.